Hello, everybody. This is Max One on One. Today we have the multi instrumentalist called Alfery. He was back in the 80s and 90s part of the Hollywood Sunset Strip. Also, from overseas, Igor Sodov has been singing for years in Russia. Together, they came up with a project, Collusion, and the band is looking to partner with a label or distributor who can assist them reach their target audience. Let's talk about the new project, Collusion.
My songs.
Nice. I really like the band. It seems like you guys put a lot of efforts in the production of the music. The sound quality is very good. It's very impressive. How do you guys reach that kind of quality? Like a lot of work, a lot of technology. How did that happen?
Well, that would be my obsession, Max, with the whole recording studio thing. And I'm a big fan of production and guys who do that kind of thing. Obviously, Def Leppard and bands like that, and the production behind that. And while I certainly haven't quite reached that yet, I'm making progress. Eric Martinson from Escape is another, a guy who's a huge influence for me. Plays multiple instruments, great engineer, great songwriter. I'm certainly trying to follow in guys like that footsteps.
Very nice, buddy. So, right now we are looking at we are seeing on the screen the we're seeing on the screen the what's it called, the cover of a new album, and also you put a full new album. Like how many songs? Like 10 songs?
10 songs on there. Yeah, it took us about a year or so to get it all together because, of course, it was all done with me tracking in the United States, and then Igor tracking the vocals in Russia and sending them back to me. And of course, that's the power of the internet, is you can work with somebody in a completely different country.
Nice. And tell me the story behind the cover, because it's a very cool heavy metal, cover, the new album. It's very awesome.
Yeah, well, this was a friend of Igor's who he got in touch with me when we started talking about it, and I had mentioned that I knew a guy out here in California that had done some album covers and things like that, and he said, well, I've got a friend, and he's done some album covers too. Let me have my guy give a crack at it. So he came up with this initial design and sent it to me, and basically we didn't want Collusion to be necessarily a political thing. I know a lot of people look at that name and think, oh, I get it, Russia, United States, Collusion.
Yeah.
And they automatically go to the political thing. And we're not a political band, so the whole thought of the album cover was, well, how do we show Collusion differently than a political
in terms
way.
of culture, right? Like we were talking before we started the interview. I have a friend, and we were talking about the discipline that, I'm not saying all the Russians, I don't know many of them, but I know a couple, and they are very, very talented with coding, with computer coding. And I was talking about discipline, right? Same thing,
Yes.
probably with the music on your end, with your body, Igor, right? And
He was incredible. I mean, without fail, when I got with him, he would always, email me back, let me know what he was working on. It would take roughly 2 weeks, and I would have a lyric to review. Then he would track the vocal, and you're right. Those people, they have a strong work ethic. And so I never worried about whether we would get this done because he was such an easy guy to work with.
Yeah, I'm me being, from overseas, I'm from Argentina. What I see or what I think about when I read the word collusion and I see the cover of an album, I see a collusion of, two cultures, and you guys getting the best out of both of them, to reach something that is even better, like the communication and collaboration. And like you say, oh, I know this guy, but I know that guy. So you pick the best of both countries, and put it in one album. I think it's amazing, man. I congratulations for that, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you. We worked hard on it, and it was a lot of fun to do.
Praying the Lord to show the way we carry
talk regularly, and fortunately, it's easy for Igor. I basically send him a complete song. I don't necessarily give him any definitive guidance as far as lyrics or vocal melody. I leave that up to him because that's his strength. So I'm fortunate. I kind of play everything. So I track everything here, and what I send him is a fairly complete song, unless there's some sort of an arrangement change or something like that. But that's been rare too. Fortunately, been doing this for such a long time, and then you start to get a feel for how a person likes to work, and so you tend to start to write to their strengths.
Very good point, man. Paul, tell me a little bit about your background. How do you started with music, your influences, what you've been doing since the 80s, probably, early 80s or mid 80s?
Play the Sunset Strip, kind of in the height of everything. So I did the Sunset Strip from 80 to about 91, I guess, is when we finally called it, because, as you know, at some point, the whole 80s hair metal thing, it just died. And it was a great time to be a part of it, and I've had the opportunity to open for, some well-known people. A really young Yngwie Malmsteen. We opened for Steeler back in the day, and so that was.
Wow. What was the name of your band?
Back then, I'm trying to think when it was. Inside Out was the name of the band that probably did the best towards the end there. We ended up in the record plant in the 80s, and we were actually in the record plant at the same time Guns N' Roses was doing Appetite for Destruction.
Wow. Oh man, that's huge.
So
what do you remember about? Did you meet these guys, or what do you remember? Tell me one story about those years.
What I remember about those guys is every time they came to the studio, they looked like they just came straight from partying all night. I mean, I just thought, wow, these guys are the epitome of the rock star. I mean, they always just looked like they had just a rough night, but then they would come in and record and do their thing, and it was definitely interesting. And of course, when you get to that point where you're starting to do things and you're in the studio with a band that's seemingly on their way, it makes you think, well, hey, you never know.
In this company, right? And then you decided to come back. How long ago with the music as a musician, right?
Yeah, so I did do one record between this one called Guilty Pleasure, and I specifically named the album Guilty Pleasure because so many people like 80s rock, but it seemed like they had a hard time admitting it sometimes. So I did that project. That singer unfortunately passed away. Wonderful guy. The guy that I worked with in Hollywood for a lot of years. It was really difficult to lose a close friend and a talented guy. But at the same time, I wanted to keep doing this, so the search began to find another singer, and started writing new material, and the result is Collusion.
Nice. I'm talking about that. Let's review a little bit the song list, the from the new album. That it's great to have to put out there a new album.
The warrior of former days, the fiddle of time keeps playing, the evening of life you face, reflecting your past, you cry out, was it worth the time, worth the time, will someone remember your name in the dust of time, the dust of time?
Like the River of Time, and a few people have mentioned they think that's one of the stronger tunes on the disc. That song, sometimes a song comes together pretty easily and feels. I didn't have to struggle with that particular tune. It came together pretty easily, and sometimes I feel like the songs that come together pretty easily are sometimes the best tunes, at least from my perspective. But of course, anybody that listens to this is going to have their favorites, and they may be very different than mine.
Nice. Let's talk about how do you write, where do you get the inspiration to write the songs?
From all sorts of different things, to be honest. But it usually is me in my studio, and then it's usually a guitar riff more often than not that starts something off, and then from there, it's just building blocks, and I end up getting the drum part together, tracking the bass parts, and getting the guitar down and all that, and really kind of completing it so that once I get it to Igor, there's not a lot of guesswork for him. It's a complete song for the most part, with the exception of his part.
Got it. But you say you started with a with a guitar, with the riff, and what about 7 Years, which is more like a ballad? Well, what happened there?
Well, that one was definitely all around the piano part,
Wow.
which, yeah, and I, my piano skills are certainly less than my guitar skills, but I think ballad, a ballad is often, piano is a big part of that, so I wanted to make sure that we had a song that was written from a piano's melody perspective.
Anyways, thank you so much. If I want to reach or get more information about the band Collusion, what's the best way to do it?
Well, there is a Facebook page, and then collusionband.com is the website.
For more information, and right now the only way that I can get one of your songs is through the Hairspray record, right? Volume 8.
Currently, but hopefully something will change on that very soon.
All right, yeah, man, like we are rooting for that. I'm very happy that we had this interview. Thank you for your time, and I hope to talk to you soon.
I appreciate it, Max. I appreciate the opportunity. You have yourself a great day.
You too. All the best for you.
Bye.
Take care, brother. Peace.
One day the sun for us will shine.